Hello, guys. Welcome along to the show. It's Conor. I'm back doing another wee episode of Carrmageddon. This afternoon, I join you on the 20th of January 2026, and I am here to be discussing, unsurprisingly, the absolute state of the Celtic transfer window so far. Before we get stuck into all that, please, guys, don't forget down below you can like the podcast, you can share it far and wide. Please, if you feel free, subscribe. We're getting more and more people subscribing every single day. The numbers, are great so far. We're really enjoying seeing the growth. You can also become a Boys in the Bus member down below. That is $1.99 a month. Totally optional. Totally nothing you have to do. It's just something if you want to give a little bit back to the guys and keep the wheels turning. We do appreciate it. It's just something, is there if you feel free like doing that. We also have a SoundCloud page that is listed in the description down below. We also have a community page on the YouTube channel, so there'll be little posts and things like that get put out that you can interact with if you feel like doing that. So before we get stuck in to the meat and potatoes, please feel free to do that, and also don't forget to comment down below. This is pre-recorded, guys, so any live comments that do go out, obviously I can't interact with them because this is pre-recorded, but feel free to interact with yourselves. If the regular viewers are watching, you can interact with each other and have wee discussions and rant to each other about what's going on now. Also, I do apologise if I'm very low energy. Today I've been stuck on the night shift this week, and I am tired, and I am just absolutely sick to the back teeth of everything that's been going on with the transfer window this January. It has been nothing short of a disgrace. So much so to the point where I can't even be bothered to go on my usual long-winded, high-spirited rants about what's going on. It is just something that I really is just bugging me, to be totally honest. So obviously, it is the 20th as of today. It is currently 3:30 in the afternoon, and we have signed one player on loan at right back, and that's it. This should be the final nail in the coffin for the Celtic board. Now, I'm going to talk about certain links in a wee while. Even if all of them come to pass, even if we go and sign 10 players this window, which we won't, obviously, this should be the final nail in the coffin for everybody in this boardroom. They have sold the support up the river. They've sold the managers up the river. This entire season has been a catastrophe from start to finish. Brendan Rodgers has been over to Saudi Arabia and has become the first manager in the history of that league to not lose any of his first 5 games, going unbeaten in these first 5 games. The board blamed this entire scenario on Brendan Rodgers. It is ridiculous. The deflection tactics from the board are unparamount. It's not me, it's them. It's not me, it's you. It's not me, it's the fans. It's not us, it's, the Green Brigade. It is genuinely disgusting, the lack of spine that these people on the board have. They can't even stand there and admit to their wrongdoings. And they'll continue to rumble on this month. The fact of the matter is I'm going to talk about links in a wee while, but I wouldn't get excited about any of them because some of them might seem good on paper, some of them I think are exactly what we need, but the reality of them happening is just slim to none because we are a basket case of a football club now. We have been in a okay position. I'm not going to say we're in a brilliant position recently because the fact of the matter is we haven't won a knockout tie in Europe in 20 years. The fact of the matter is that we got regularly embarrassed in Europe year upon year. We've underperformed dramatically in terms of the European scale. We have done nothing besides do things domestically, which we should have been doing regardless, given the financial disparity between us and everybody else in the league up until now. That is the bare minimum. Like, we should have been winning trebles, last season, the season before that. Like, we should have been doing that. Winning doubles, wasn't enough. Like, I'm sorry, I celebrated it as much as everybody else, But I don't look at that as if like something to really celebrate, because it is the barest of bare minimums with what we have on the table compared to everybody else. And it's not, I'm not like up myself saying that, and I'm not entitled by saying that. It's just the truth. That's the bare minimum we should have been getting. And like, yeah, you don't have a God ordained right to win anything. That's not how it works. But when you have the facilities and the money and the assets that we had compared to everybody else, I mean, it damn near should have been, predetermined before every season. It should not have been as tight as what it was the last couple of years. Nowhere near it. So, yeah, the fact that we're still in this position now is unsurprising to me. It is generally the least surprising thing that has probably happened this season, because I knew it would happen. I knew that Celtic would not get their ducks in a row. It looks as only if they have just started looking in January. They hadn't looked at anything beforehand. They hadn't determined to go out and try and sign or contact players or scout players before the January window came in, so we get them over the line quickly. No, it looks like they've just started at the start of January and then went into it, which is fucking bizarre. Like, it is genuinely the damage that's been done by a handful of people, to make us a laughing stock. Like, we are a laughing stock right now, and I don't care if anybody says I'm being, over the top, or how can you say that about Celtic and all this. That get off the Celtic high horse and stop looking at it with green tinted specs. I were still the most successful club in Scotland. I were still the biggest club in Scotland. But we're a laughing stock now. If we keep going the way we are going, right, and there's every possibility that it will, because the people at the top are just incapable of doing the right things and making the right decisions, we could end up like Manchester United, a club who is just living in the shadow of itself. It cannot sort itself out. We could become like a Manchester United in 5-10 years' time if we are still being ran by these utter charlatans. And that is why, right, I highly recommend you go, obviously, subscribe here, comment here, watch the show, guys. But I highly recommend that you guys go and watch and listen to Ryan Mum and 8 streams. He's talking about it nearly every single day and the state, how bad we are. And it's took him a long time to kind of come round to the train of thought that me and a lot of other people had, that, were an absolute fucking shambles, because he's not really that inclined. But he's almost, I think, leading the charge now, being the biggest and most subscribed channel, in terms of Celtic YouTube and stuff like that, and content creation. He's leading the charge now to take these fuckers to task. And with someone with his reach and his, not, what's the word? I forgot the word, but sway. He's got no sway really on Celtic, but the more eyes on what Celtic are doing, the better, or lack of what they're doing. Because obviously we're only a small channel. We can only say so much and come on here and spread the word enough. And obviously, if you guys share the channel and stuff like that, that helps us as well. And it helps more people out there, open their eyes to what's going on. But the guys like Ryan Monet, his podcast that he's on, Axom, the Four Tims, guys, I think like everybody's speaking about it right now. And we're almost like a unified front against the absolute disgrace that the window has been so far. And I'm happy for I'm not happy with the circumstances, obviously. By God, I'm not. And I'm not happy that I'm right about this stuff. Like, I would love to wake up tomorrow and see that Celtic have signed 7 players to really make a fist to going for the title, and maybe taking us a bit further in Europe. But it just won't happen. But I am happy that we are unified as a support against these arseholes who are just ploughing the club into the ground. We were deemed as one of the best run clubs in Europe, I think, just last year. But the truth is, we haven't. We're probably one of the worst. To invest so little into a club that earns so much, and a club that can achieve so much if you do it properly, it's genuinely like we're being ran by people who don't love the club. You would look at it from an outsider looking in and say, why the hell are the people who are meant to be doing the best for your club, who are meant to forge it going forward, just fucking it over at every opportunity? It's almost like we're on, you know, a racing track going towards the glory land, if you want to put it that way, over the last 10 years or so, with how much we've been successful and how much money we're bringing in. And people like Dermot Desmond, Peter Lawwell, Michael Nicholson, these people, like Paul Tisdale, even, like, they're putting, you know, spikes out in the road to try and pop the tyres every time we get closer and closer to the finish line, to try and take us into that new era. They are, you know, slashing the Achilles of Celtic. They're purposely dragging it down, and it's disgusting for me. And people need to like call out, like, every single day, every post Celtic put up. We need to bombard them with sack the board, and this isn't good enough, and it's an utter disgrace. Every single post, from now until these people are gone. That doesn't mean just this season. That means next season, season after that, until these people are gone. We cannot just let them get this over the line potentially. And it is a massive if we get this league title over the line, right? And go back to things being rosy in the garden. That's not what should be happening. It is the pressure needs to ramp up. I think the toxicity towards these people needs to ramp up even further. Like, I know that people like Peter Love and that were saying, oh, the abuse is too much in that. Well, I don't care. Like, good. Like, this is people's only outlet in certain cases. Some people's only outlet in life could be Celtic Football Club, could be the football. And they are poisoning it. People go to the football for a myriad of reasons, to whether it's to improve their mental health or to meet friends, meet family, enjoy a day out, you know, be with a community, things like that. And this board are bastardising it. They're bastardising what Celtic Football Club stands for. They're bastardising what we should be doing and where we should be and what we should stand for. It's an utter disgrace, and I cannot be bothered to give them, you know, a single thought more today, because they are just genuinely parasites. They take and take and take and give nothing back to the support. And it'll continue to be that way until they're gone. And even when they're gone, I have no idea who's going to come in. But there has to be boycotts, there has to be pressure, there has to be ramped up, all of this stuff. Like, I implore you, just don't give in to them. Support the team, yes, but by God, make it uncomfortable for those fuckers sitting in the padded seats. But we have links to talk about, so prepare yourselves for these exciting new transfer rumours. We're still linked with Mo Bamba, the striker from FC Lorient in France. I think those went cold for a little bit, and then over the last, 48, 37 hours, 48, 37, sorry, 48 to 72 hours, they've kind of reignited a wee bit, probably due to Celtic's desperation, because it is all hands on deck, panic stations right now, because we have 8 days left. The transfer window. Sorry, not 8 days, 10 days left in a transfer window. It is genuinely shocking, the fact that we're still scrambling about and we seem to get nothing close to being over the line like it is. Every link that I've seen here and I've listed down, you go in the article, whether it's Daily Record, The Sun, The Herald, whoever it may be, it's monitoring situation. It's made an approach. It is like taking interest in this. You're like, these types of articles should have been coming out months ago. And the articles that should be coming out right now should be like making bid, making, offers to club, booking medical, all that stuff. Like, people should be on flight radar now, tracking flights across to Glasgow to see if, or London, see if people are doing medicals and that. It is. It's to the point where it's genuinely it's laughable. It is a laughable state we're in, and the Celtic board will turn around and say, "Oh, it's a tough window," and you blah blah blah. Rangers have done it, got 4 players in. Hearts have done it, got a few players in. Hibs have done it. Motherwell signing players. Aberdeen signing players. That's not to mention the hundreds of other clubs across the world who operate in the same transfer windows as you, who are still getting in players. They can do it. Why the hell can't you, Celtic? It's because you don't want to. Because you genuinely don't want to. You cannot be asked. You cannot be asked to turn around and try and improve the club in any real positive fashion. The last time we had that was under Ange the first time around, and that's because they had to. They got so embarrassed during the COVID season that they had to just, take a roll of the dice and just throw everything at the wall and see what stuck away when Ange came in, because they were backed into a corner. But yeah, we're still looking at Mobamba for FC Lorient. I am at the stage now where I am that desperate that I'll take him, even though his stats and his, profile is not impressive by any stretch, to be honest. We should be looking a lot higher. But I am that desperate that I'll take him. I'll take anything at this point. It is so bad. So we're also linked, apparently, with Crystal Palace right winger Jason Raksaki. Apparently, take this with a huge pinch of salt, we have made an £8 million bid for him. Because Palace are wanting a permanent transfer for him, but Celtic apparently want a loan instead, with an option to buy instead of an obligation, which is like what Palace are preferring. Take him on loan with an obligation to buy him. But then the article headline says we made an £8 million offer, but then you go and read the article, and then says Celtic are wanting a loan first instead with an option to buy. So how can we have made an offer to buy him if we're seeking out preferably a loan instead? Like, I don't understand that. So that could be a bunch of horse shit. So take it with a pinch of salt, guys. Take everything I say in this with a pinch of salt, because we obviously know that, like, it's genuinely at the stage now where any transfer rumour comes out, I can't even get excited about it. I can't even look at it and say, "Oh, that'd be a brilliant player to come in," or "That's exactly what we need," and because you just know it's not going to happen. It is to a point where we are just so incapable of running as a serious football club. So I apologise for crashing and burning any hopes you've got, but I'm just trying to be a realist about it. So, but yeah, Martin O'Neill and I think Fozzie were pictured at the Motherwell game last week. Rumours are they're monitoring Tawanda Masvidise for Motherwell, monitoring again. So he's a target. I'd take him. He's been on fire this season. A lot of people maybe say he's a flash in the pan, one season wonder. No, he's playing in a good team in Motherwell who play good football, and he's really taken to that. So if you take him, put him on a Celtic side, and really try and get like something out of him, play decent football, I think he'd tear it up for Celtic. I'm being totally honest. I'd go for him. Like, I'd go for him right now if it were me. But obviously that's another link. We've also been linked again with David Datro Fofana, the Chelsea striker, who I think turned us down to go to Charlton instead. I'm not sure if he did turn us down. I think there was a whole thing about like he couldn't be loaned out to another club in the UK or something like that, and then he's moved to Charlton, collapsed, he went to Turkey. I don't know. The whole transfer saga with him before was mucky waters, but he's been plying his trade in Turkey. He's getting a lot of goals. He's actually been performing pretty well. So, and we're obviously in desperate need of a striker, like genuinely. It is so bad. Like if I have to see Johnny Kenny or not Inamura, what's his name? Oh, I forgot. Like plays starting striker again for Celtic, which we probably will. Like Johnny Kenny's probably going to start against Bologna, going to start against Hearts. Like that is the most baffling sentence I can come away with just how poor we are and how poor he is as a striker. The fact that they've not identified somebody and got them in, like right now, when we're really struggling up top. But you know, it's just Celtic doing Celtic things. But yeah, David Atro Fofana, I would take him. I'd take him right now. Generally, I'd take anybody at this point. Like I would take Bowie for Hibs. I would take Mulligan for Hibs. I would take anybody really at this point. Like Christ, I would take fucking Gogic for St Mirren. It is generally at the point now where we are like so thin in terms of our squad depth, in terms of what we've got and the performances. Even though Martin O'Neill hasn't lost yet, they are still very, very poor. They are still very, very poor and hard to watch. Granted, we're not losing them, which is, you know, a bonus, a massive bonus. Thank God. But they're a tough watch. And I don't think that's on Martin O'Neill. I think that's on the squad he's got. Whereas I think everything on Wilfred Nancy was on Wilfred Nancy. I think it was his fault, to be totally honest. Like just the way they were playing, the tactics, all that stuff. But Martin O'Neill's having to work with what he's got, and he's genuinely, I think, performing miracles, getting victories with this current crop of players because they're nowhere near good enough. Nowhere near good enough. But we're linked with Frankfurt defender Auriel Amenda, Swiss centre back. So Celtic want to bring him in, but recently Frankfurt have just sacked their manager, so that may complicate that deal massively. I think apparently they want to get him in too sweet, but obviously, depending on what happens with their managerial situation, he could be getting monitored by the new manager, and he may want to keep him, may see something in him. But Celtic are obviously desperate for another centre back with Callum Carter-Vickers out for the rest of the season, and the depth of centre back not being there at all. Also, have to recall Stephen Welsh on loan, but I do think what they're going to do is, I'm thinking what's going to happen is like they've recalled Stephen Welsh, who's been playing really, really well at Motherwell, and they're using it as some sort of bargaining chip to try and get Masvinisi, because obviously Stephen Welsh has now played for us in the Cup, so he can't go to any other team in the league besides Motherwell. So, and I think Motherwell are probably going to be desperate to come back because apparently he's been performing that well for Motherwell. And Celtic are going to use him as some sort of bargaining chip to try and get Masvinisi. They might just sell him to Motherwell and say, give us Masvinisi. And to be honest, I'd be pretty happy with that deal. But obviously, if that is what's happening, which I think is happening, they do need another centre back in to try and strengthen that position, because as we've seen recently, Austin Trusty has started to revert to form where he's making mistakes and he's looking like a raffle winner. Like, it is genuinely to the point where any striker who gets a wee bit physical with him, or any player that gets a wee bit physical with him, coming at him, he's genuinely just shitting the bed. He's giving me Christopher Julian vibes. Now, personally, I don't think Austin Trusty could hold a candle with Christopher Julian as a centre back, but they're very similar in terms of they do not like that physical battle. So I do think Martin O'Neill was looking to get another centre back in to try and strengthen that position and try and give us a bit more, grit and fight, which is something obviously I've been calling out for a long time. Final link, we are linked with Jasper Asprilla, 22-year-old right winger from Girona. Girona are wanting his exit to be quite swift. Whether it be permanent or on loan, I think they've put a £1.75 million loan fee on him, with Celtic being linked with possibly looking at him. Like it's generally, it's just you could just copy and paste like any transfer link really with any random player in Europe, and just Celtic monitoring, Celtic looking at him. Like you could generally just do that and pump out these articles, and it is generally believable because it looks like Celtic are making next to no ground to sign anybody. the news is as slow as a beating the jail, and the processes and the speed to try to sign anybody isn't nothing short of a disgrace. And I'm just fed up here. I do apologise again, guys. I know I've generally just been like such a dour and low energy today, but I am, like I said before, like I'm really tired, and I'm, just sick to the back teeth of everything that's going on. It's hard to get, uppity and excited and try to be entertaining when the Celtic are giving you literally nothing. They've given us literally nothing since signing Araujo to speak about. It's an embarrassing state of affairs. But there is the possibility of a Celtic exit this window, because RB Leipzig are monitoring Arne Engels this window, and would be possibly interested in bringing him in as a number of players that we're looking at. And I'll be totally frank and honest. If it was me, I would sell him tomorrow. I would genuinely sell him tomorrow, because Arne Engels has been £11 million worth of just bang average. He is a bang average football player. He has a handful of good passes in a game, if you're lucky. He has one good game like every 5 or 6 games. The only thing he's done really in a Celtic shirt is be our most expensive signing ever and be an okay penalty taker. That's it. That's all he's contributed in a Celtic shirt. He was meant to come in and be, this star boy who was going to rip up the league and, get himself in the Belgium squad and, be a player who we could sell on for massive, massive profit and really develop him. And so far, that's amounted to bugger all. And it's not personal, but like, I think the people online who still try and defend Arne Engels, who are seeing this article come out and say, "Oh, we shouldn't sell him," I generally think like they're fucking idiots. Like, he's basically an empty jersey, and pairing him alongside Benjamin Nygren, who fair enough turns up with goals in that, but throughout the course of the 90 minutes, is also another empty jersey. It's just not good enough. We need more in that midfield area. Sell Arne Engels tomorrow and buy in a strong defensive midfielder to shore that shit up. Let Callum McGregor move up and have the run of the pitch a bit more in the middle of the park. And then maybe have somebody like Nygren next to him or something like that. And have a central defender in there sitting shoring things up. Because our midfield in games is anonymous besides Callum McGregor. And even then, Callum McGregor can go hiding as well. So when you've got 3 players who occasionally can go missing in games in midfield, you are, hampering yourself massively. The games, especially between Celtic and Rangers, the battle is won in the midfield. And we don't have that. You look at what happened in the New Year derby when Nance was still in charge. All they did was tweak it in midfield, and then boom, it was easy for them to get the win. Sell Arne Engels tomorrow, genuinely. If we take a loss, generally who gives a fuck? Like, who cares if we take a loss on Arne Engels? Like, just get rid of him, because it has been an experiment which hasn't worked out. And almost like every experiment Celtic try and do, it blows up in our faces. So try and recoup what you can on him before his value just continues to sink even lower because of his poor performances, his poor record, and just try and get somebody else in. Then now, while you still can. I mean, our reputation as well as a club in terms of dealing with transfers is going to take a massive hit. I mean, that whole thing about going for Leeds, and apparently Leeds and 49ers were like, no, like, why the hell do we deal with you? We own your rivals. Fucking laughable. Just generally, if something sums up this transfer window, it's that. It's going to a club who's owned by a group who also own your rivals. who do not want to strengthen you at all, and still going to them and saying, "Can we have a player, please?" And they're like, "Fucking no." But that's just how Celtic do things. There's no logic. There's no logical explanation to what they do. It is genuinely just throw shit at the wall, see what sticks. I generally think that see with the numbers they pick out to bid for players, they just stick random numbers in a tombola and just bull it around and pick that. So it could be like 4. Aye, but he's valued at £10 million. Aye, but we're only gonna bid 4 because the tombola machine says so. Like that is believable. That scenario I just said there is more believable than Celtic doing their business properly and going in and getting people this window. That genuinely it is fucking bizarre where we are now. And I am done talking about it for today. So apologise on how the show's been today, guys. How low energy it's been and how probably depressing it has been because of the lack of activity, really, in terms of safety transfers and any news and updates. But I just wanted to come on and let you guys know about what's going on. But yeah, if you have enjoyed, please don't forget, like, share, subscribe, share the bus far and wide, all that good stuff. Become a Bhoys Bus member, go to our SoundCloud. You can follow us on Twitter as well at the Boys on the Bus and get updates on there when we go live, stuff like that. The notification bell down below in the YouTube bar, hit that, be notified when we do go live, and you can see us as soon as we go live every week. I'm sure that the boys will be on after the game on Thursday night, after the Bologna game. So buckle in for what I'm sure is going to be a riveting analysis of a defeat. But anyway, guys, have a good one. I will see you later on. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, and hopefully I have egg on my face and we're going to sign 10 players by tomorrow, and we're making a real charge for the league, but I don't really see it. But I'll see you guys later, okay? See you next one, okay? Have a good one. Bye.